welcome back. We are in the lobby for Ryung versus Stats. It's TVP in the round of 8.
Olivia, our wonderful mod for the tournament, creator of the Olimoleague, and overall awesome person, having some dilemmas in the lobby, actually. Some might say.
Totally real dilemmas. Okay, actually, I'm the lobby host. I'm the host now. So
I just feel bad because I joined the lobby, and I guess I didn't see whatever she had written beforehand, if it was like addressed to you or not. She's just like, I need help. I'm like, okay, what's up? So I'm going to BRB.
Yeah,
Not what I expected.
She just said yes. Yeah, with her waifu husbando game.
Husbando.
Yeah, exactly. So again, just to go over, like, why didn't we follow Beyond versus Hero? That's an awesome matchup. The Korean stream's following that, and they have difficulty with their audio, so it would be waiting a long time.
A very long time.
I was like,
I
what
think-
are you doing?
I think this will be a good one, though. Ryung, again, he won last week's Olimoleague. Stats, phenomenal Protoss player. I think this will make for a very good matchup.
Yeah, I don't think this is gonna be bad at all. Crap, I missed the timing a little bit. Whoop. But it is just like I know a lot of people are gonna ask. So if it does start, which would be cool if it didn't, we gotta catch that too. But if it does start, you can find that twitch.tv/Olimoleague. You'll see the Korean casters, and you can watch that game over there. But here we're doing a TVP. In the bottom left on New Gettysburg, he is the blue Terran, Ryung.
And his opponent on the bottom right, going to be the red Protoss Stats.
I guess the other one's a TVP too. We have more Protoss, man. More Protoss joining in.
I mean, so we all know Beyond beats Stats. Clearly Stats just can't play versus the OP Terran race. Right?
Yes.
He said super sarcastically.
I don't know, Stats might have gotten beat in the last Olimoleague, but yeah, it was Beyond, so I don't know. It just looks really good in all matchups right now. TVT he did lose, so we went over that, of course, and that might be where Ryung certainly has a chance to get to that finals once again, but Stats versus Ryung, don't think it's going to be 2-0 as I think Stats versus Beyond was. Ryung is good, but he is definitely more of a TVT sniper. A lot of Terrans are having difficulty versus Protoss, and Stats does play the Colossus way of the Protoss, which I would say most are doing nowadays anyway, so it's like not even super special to him. But New Gettysburg kind of started off as not the first map, but one of the first maps where you would see the Colossus style, because this map is almost always guaranteed to go to 3 or even 4 bases in all matchups.
Yeah, I mean, even with ones that look really tiltingly one-sided, I'd say Zerg vs. Protoss, for example, it's unfortunate that while games get decided around thirds, you pretty much still get those thirds in most scenarios.
Yeah. So if you're gonna get to a third, then you actually can go for a Colossus. I mean, the 2-base Colossus all in like Heart of the Swarm, I guess still technically exists. You see it occasionally for like a cheese, but it's not nearly as good. They get a Griffithus for the 26-month resub. Here, have my money.
And Olivia with a follow-up.
Don't fucking judge me. Wow. Language. That appears on stream, you know?
But yeah, so speaking of Griffithus, by the way, buy some cool stuff for yourself. Luckily, we've been blessed with the opportunity to use our subscribers and the money you guys generate to create cool tournaments, like, for example, helping out with the upcoming mod tournament show match series with the random versus random tournaments. A lot of these other things go on. Like, sometimes there's the viewer involvement. Some people actually will donate for tournaments, but for the most part, you subs, we don't spend on cool candy or cars. We're actually...
Cool candy?
Right?
12?
I am. Shut the fuck up.
Okay.
My point of this is, we don't get to spoil ourselves rarely with sub money. It's usually made for the betterment of StarCraft 2, so you can rest well knowing that it's going to a good place.
I really like the way you said we use our subs.
Yeah, we use
you
and abuse them. They're not even people.
They're just items. Things, really.
Units instead of heroes, am I right?
Hey! Overwatch cast jokes. Make fun of zombie grab.
Both people who tuned in totally got that joke, Ripkin. High five.
Hey-o. And then you high five yourself, which makes it extra sad.
Only if you're judging. God!
Jeju-san.
Alright, so Stats trying to get across that bridge, doesn't get much done for. In fact, he's being chased back across that bridge. The Adept almost dies. Feels bad, man. Oracle now darting towards the main, however, and there's nothing really here to defend because it was all chasing that Adept.
It was a fake. Psyched him out. More Marines are coming back, though. So 8 SCVs is still really good, though. I thought he was going to stop at 5, but 3 more added on, and the Oracle lives. Stats definitely one of those guys with really good Oracle control. And behind this Oracle, this is what's so frustrating. It's not the SCVs lost. It's the 3rd gained. As a Terran player, like, son of a bitch and stupid Oracle, and you chase him around, and then finally you have your attack. And then you already have a 3rd to deal with. A 3rd that already has, like, a pylon, and an army over here, and a couple of probes, and, well, your 3rd is still not even being built. It's not a balance wine, really. I mean, the game will continue on, but it is the strength of this build that Stats has chosen to go for. It's a very light units production, units counts, but you do get this pretty safe base behind it. And then you get into your own production. Then you get into your Twilight Council, your Forge, your Robo, even a couple more Phoenix. I think this is just a personal addition to deal with the medevac drops, should they come in. Necessarily his goal is to go for a lot of Phoenix. The medevac's gonna be chased or accompanied, I don't know how to call it, by the Oracle.
So it's almost like escorted.
It's like, come follow me, I'll take you to a place where the Protoss army isn't, trust me. Well, he didn't lie, actually. Protoss army isn't right there. Oh, what are you doing?
Oh, he unloads to deal with the Oracle. That's gonna sound, I guess you forgot things inside could shoot up. Awkward.
Oopsie. Yeah, the army here is not that impressive for Stats. This is definitely the moment where it's like, okay, the Oracle bought you a lot of time, but can you hold on otherwise? If the Sentry gets sniped and, you know, then Ryung picks up, that's pretty worth. Unfortunately, not possible there, and the Adept count was high enough. They don't have Resident Enclaves, but I guess Ryung didn't have combat shields either, so it was a situation where just picking up and leaving would have been better. Well. I thought he was only going up to, I want to say if he goes up to 3 Phoenix, that's, you know, okay, whatever. But if he goes beyond that, that's a little surprising. Maybe not, maybe not. I mean, he did get Resonating Glaives, not Blink, and he does need something to deal with the medevacs. I mean, you get these pretty obvious where they're going to send the medevac drops in your main, if they do at all. But just in chasing back a attack like this, getting the medevacs can be very useful. As far as I know, Ryung still hasn't seen the Phoenix edition. He's kind of hiding them almost. Or just getting AI, I'm not sure which one. But so if he does try and depend on the pickup to save his units, he'll probably lose at least 1 medevac. You know, 4 Phoenix don't actually kill medevacs that quickly, but you can certainly lose 1. Colossus now on the way, Robotic Spade. This is definitely not the quickest Colossus we've seen from Stats. Actually, Stats attacking in here without his upgrades, but still just an overwhelming amount of units, and that's where Ryung's pickup is not going to work out for him that well. 1 medevac will go down, but it doesn't have anything in it. Got that much going for him. Overwhelming amount of adepts, man. Plus the Guardian Shield. So, even though Ryung had better upgrades and some did have combat shields, once again forced to pick up and leave. His 3rd CC only just finishing up. Blink now on the way, Colossus on the way. He's on his way to Liberate at the very least, but I really feel like Stats is like, not quite won this game, but I don't know, it kind of feels like it. He's up 20 probes and 20 army supply. And, okay, Liberators can be scary, they're not that high number.
I mean, like, okay, Adepts, supply, generally, whatever, it's just like, the type of supply, though, forget the Liberators for a second, all this bio is so screwed versus Colossus.
Yeah. If this was 17 Marauders, more power to you, Ryung, but it's mostly Marines.
Even then, it's like still questionable. Like the Adepts would be busy buying so much time from the Marauders they couldn't exactly stay on top of the Colossus. Like this was something where it required Ryung to do a lot more with those initial drops to really dissuade him from just simply getting to this count of supply.
Yeah. I mean, everything has gone pretty poorly for Ryung here. He chased the Adepts, lost SCVs. His attack didn't do anything, and then his second attack didn't do anything. And not only didn't do anything, it had no potential to continue doing something because the Phoenixes made it back off. So there's been no drop over here just now coming in to kill 20 probes. It really is all Ryung on the defensive. Now, against just the, not Colossus part of the army, maybe he can have a chance here, but the Colossus addition will just melt the Marines so quickly that the Liberators can be dealt with after the facts. Adepts could just transfer in. Stats, I mean, he's in a very good position. He could still definitely throw, and he has to be careful, but he's in a position where, like, he could just give away 10 Adepts.
I'm wondering if, so, speaking of that, like, you land the EMP. Is that going to be enough to tear through the Adepts to let you get on top of that Colossus? Or will the EMP ultimately just be negligible? It's normally such a powerful move and it's so much damage, but Ryung's not on +2 weapon upgrades. Ryung's not sitting here with an overwhelming amount of Marauders and all the things we've been listing going up to this point. So I don't actually know how valuable this EMP is going to be compared to what it otherwise could be.
It's one of those things where your tech looks impressive. Liberators, Medevacs, Ghosts, even a couple of Vikings, I think. Yeah, literally 2 Vikings. But you kind of sacrificed a big army to do this, because you did not get a very quick 3rd base, and you only have a limited number of resources. So you're still down 20 army supply. Pretty clumped up to start things off. EMPs do go down on the Adepts, but the Colossus aren't getting taken care of and just chewing through all of the bio. A 3rd Colossus even comes forward here too, and that's just, oh god, so good for stats.
That is so good for stats. That's probably the best way to describe that politely.
Yeah. Politely. Yeah, that's not... I didn't expect quite the... Let's be honest, that was a bit of a stomp. Again, just starting from minute 3 with the Oracle and so on and so forth. Ryung has done nothing, and that just led to what looked like a stomp. But it's not too surprising either. New Gettysburg, a pretty good map for Protoss, I would say. Again, very comfortably going to 3-4 bases. And just the fact that a lot of Korean Terrans do have trouble against Protoss nowadays. Does seem to take the above and beyond to really push through and look overpowered in the other direction.
Yeah, I mean, even players like Beyond, who look untouchable in a lot of situations, have found themselves, I'll say, upset with Protoss. Like, I don't oftentimes ever see Beyond complain about anything, but when I do, it's usually about Protoss.
Yeah. And really, the trouble is not universal, I would say. Like, there's probably a couple of Terrans you don't mind versus, playing against Protoss, but it is something to always, I guess, consider, especially in the Olimoleague, I guess, where we kind of know a lot of the people's opinions in the Olimoleague, despite the language barrier. Thank you to Optional Player for the 17-month resub.
Ryung trying to be a good guy and host the lobby, but at the same time doesn't use the mod.
Feels super bad. Also doesn't... Yeah, okay, I was gonna say also doesn't swap me out, so... I got him! Get him! Okay, going on. There you go. So, anyway, like, again, not like super balanced or anything. It's not like Stats is guaranteed to win this entire thing because he plays Protoss, and not just because there's other Protoss in the bracket, but really that Ryung, I think, it really feels like Ryung is on fire. He's really, really good. If Ryung is not on fire, then he does look back to, like, 2014 Ryung sometimes, which was probably his lowest point. 2014, 2015 was, like, his lowest point, I think, as a player. He swung back, he got, good, and he got confidence, and he did well in the individual leagues, but sometimes it just... it looks like a bad game when things start off badly. Hopefully, this game, Frozen Temple, Ryung's map choice, will not start off as badly with that Oracle, and we'll actually get to see what he can do on a more even footing. Speaking of which, in the top left, down 1, he is Ryung. Whoopsie. Amazing.
And opposite in the bottom right, we got the barcode. Beep, 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 beep. It's stats. Of course, while we don't have determined victors down in the southern part of the bracket, as it is moving a little bit slower, I would like to remind everybody of Chan Kim actually defeating Natural, which is impressive. Yep. He'll play against Trust or Leenock, leading into the winner of this series.
Ryung's SCV taking a pretty wild path here. Unfortunately, with Stats' very quick probe scout, there's no denial on the Protoss scouting, whatever sneaky things you're trying to do. I don't think it's anything sneaky though. Like not on one base. This is still a 1-Rax expand, and Stats is not going to stick around long enough to see, for instance... Okay, no, it's not. Actually, he didn't go for the Reaper and the Reactor. He went for the Marine and the Factory. And I was going to say, Stats might not stick around long enough to see that, but he does. He doesn't just assume a Reaper's on the way out, so he'll see that the supply depot was put down, which is very unorthodox for Warnock's Expand. And I even think he saw the tail end of that Marine popping out. So now he should recognize that something is up. That might even be in a gas first, so I was not paying that close attention. But the second gas on the way, of course. Just go all one base for quite a while. Frozen Temple, not a bad map to do that. You could even do it unproxied, but, you know, obviously proxying can trip things up. Just what type of proxy exactly will it be? We've seen Cyclone pushes, we've seen tank pushes. Warmind drop is...
I'm a big fan of Cyclones, as you know, anytime you've ever listened to me cast, but I think that for what's going to go on here, classic Widowmine drops might be the better option, or hell, even just a normal Widowmine walking in with Liberator support behind it. Either way, just keeping it, I think, simple and not too complicated, because Ryung is, let's not forget, he's down in the series going into this. You really can't afford to get too fancy, and if you are going for something like, say, a Cyclone, that's going to require that extra level of dedication. He's going to throw in the Tech Lab. Looks like that might just be the case. I'm not sold on this as an idea because Cyclones are really almost 50-50 for me. On one hand, they can do fantastic damage and make the game look broken and unfair. On the other, it's like, you built a really expensive unit, you lost it, and now you're kind of behind. Oh, it's going to be a tank, though. Oh,
I was going to say, it might be a tank. So, okay... Frozen Temple can be really good for even the unproxied version of this, as I was talking about, because it's not that big of a map in the first place, so you don't really have to proxy it unless you're really trying to hide something, which it's hard to hide that you're going for one base. Once you put down the second supply depot without a command center, Protoss knows something weird is up. Thank you to Yahua Score for the 8-month resub. Anyways, so Stats knows something is up, but it's always like, what exactly is up? So you're right, the Cyclone build could have been it, or a tank push could have been it, and it is going to be the tank push. The Widowmine, okay, was dropped. I was like, where did that thing go? By the medevac here. There's no observer. So this will be a continued thorn in Stats' side. And here comes the bunker. The SCVs were pulled along with the Marines, which were just denying scouting for initially, but of course come with the push after. And this could be very annoying to deal with.
They're not only going to just help you able to build bunkers, but repair tanks. More importantly, repair that medevac in a pinch. It's be really cool to see how this plays out. But right now, this is looking pretty not too bad for Ryung.
Observer is sniped.
Oh,
did deal with the Widowmine first.
That's vision. He did it badly.
Liberator now comes through too. So Adepts, they're going to go shade past, it looks like. Yeah, one of them died to the Liberator, I think. But that means that reinforcements can't come up, and also the potential of a sandwich comes into effect here too. You can't really do anything with the supply depot up, even if there wasn't Marines being kept back at home. You could still just buy a lot of time waiting for the supply depot to go down. Oh, okay, it just looked up last second. The Nexus looks like it's going to be forfeit.
This is so weird that the bunker's not in range of this at all. It's just like leapfrog that tank forward in the most awkward way. Marines, please.
Cyclone. Oh, I guess the Cyclone went home to try and deal with this. I don't know why though. It's kind of dangerous.
I guess it would technically be able to deal with it.
Properly microed, yes, but it's scary when you're focusing on two fronts. The micro something like a Cyclone is very, very low health. 2 Immortals, but the Nexus still goes down. I think that was his intention for quite some time. He didn't look like he was prepping to go down the ramp, and it would have been very difficult to do so anyway. He's gonna be able to recall the probes if they're ever found out. I kind of like that he's not automatically doing it. Up there he goes. Just in case like they're never pushed on, he could use that extra 50 energy to Photon Overcharge. Adept's still trying to get Ryung caught off guard, but at this point, I think he would even have enough Marines, even if they did get through.
I'm liking Ryung's position a lot for this game. This proxy, I'd say, is really a coin flip and a half, like 50-50 on whether this works, and we see it used rather regularly. But for Ryung to pull this off, but against somebody like Stats, no less, is really impressive. Or unimpressive, depending on which side you're rooting for here.
Well, stats, you know, he knew something was up, but to determine exactly what, and for it to be the tank push and not just straight up Cyclone push, probably surprised him. He does get this really nice surround, though. The Warp Prism, the units coming from behind, the Immortals, of course, chugging away at those tanks. Works out pretty nicely. It is still 1 base versus 1 base, but 2 tanks still live. Oh, that was really close. Oh my god,
man,
that's so
all
close.
those tanks are so
He doesn't
low.
have high ground vision with the Warp Prism. Oh my god, finally, there he gets it.
The high ground vision, I can't believe is what we got denied there. We got the SCV now desperately trying to repair these tanks. I mean, in every situation, an Immortal should be able to beat the tanks when it comes on fights, but of course you get that extra element. Both players are microing and dodging Warp Prism pickups, tank pickups. Like, this is awesome. This is terrible and horrifying, and I would never want to be in this position myself, but this is awesome to watch.
Well, the Blink Stalkers certainly added a lot there. They're the reason that he could get some better positioning on those tanks. And, of course, the Warp Prism as well. Being able to micro like it did. So the Stalkers now using their mobility and their freedom, now that they're out of the main base, to try and catch more reinforcements as he realizes... I'm not sure when he realized that the units were coming from over here, by the way. Like, he knew about the Marines in the main base, but... Okay, at some point he did scout the factory. I think those were the Stalkers, though. Anyways, now he had a better idea of where to stop reinforcements. It still doesn't really work out that way. Ryung is aware that he knows where the reinforcements are, too. So the Stalkers trying to do whatever they can. Stats unable to get a Nexus. There's a very small army on the front lines now. And now it's not even about just the tanks. This number of Marines with this number of medevacs is going to be hard to chew through without a lot of adepts or without, you know, really good micro from the Stalkers focus firing, I guess. Though they want to focus fire on the medevacs anyway, so they could not deal with the Marines. Stats
I thought this game was going to be long over, but as time goes on, this gets interesting. Like, I want a nice pickup on the Immortal, by the way. Stats not only has to take his natural because he's going to run out of money, but Ryung's going to have to lift up and move his main at some point too.
Yeah, that's going to be game, I think. Just lost the majority of his army. Just lost his mothership core, which didn't even really help out, to be honest.
Oh, but the Stalkers might pick off these medevacs. Oh, a little bit of miscontrol. Possibly could have cost him, but Ryung does kill the Stalkers for GG. Gonna tie up the series 1-1.
Clever
Ryung was reaching so deep for that, too. Like, that, you could really feel it towards the end where he's just like, fucking leave, get this over with.
Yeah, he, that was certainly cheese, and stats, maybe with a bit better knowledge of exactly what type it was, tank or cyclone, might have been able to deal with it a little bit better, but there's definitely some micro, I guess, differences that could have been done during the engagements as well. It's going to be stats map choice now, so you can choose a very different map than Frozen. It's actually going to be Frost.
Oh. By the way, it just turned on the Olimoleague Korean stream, so they are casting Beyond vs. Hero right now. Which sucks because I guess like they didn't start too much later after us. It didn't take nearly as long to deal with, but absolutely in base trade territory as I tune in. Stats or Hero literally on like 1 probe, 22 army supply.
Amazing. I wonder what map was it?
New Gettysburg.
Oh, okay. I was expecting.
So anyways, if you guys want to watch the rest of Beyond vs. Hero, it is going to be on twitch.tv/Olimoleague. We won't be casting that. We'll be casting the rest of this one. As Ryung and Stats now goes to Game 3 here on BaseTradeTV.
Yeah. And, not going to play a commercial, I guess. It was made pretty quickly. Because I made it. Okay, anyways. It's Frost. We have the graphs now. I'm a free. Amazing.
Yay! By the way, or I guess I can't say
Okay. By the way. Okay. I was gonna say they're both chatting away. Okay, you tell me to go. Can't read your silly letters. Okay, I'm not gonna address that. I know one of those things that they said, and it was basically well played. Here we are in game number 3. Thanks. I try and learn. And game number 3, in the bottom left, as the blue Protoss, he is Stats.
Oh no, the colors are so similar. How will I ever know who's who? The bottom right, it's the light blue Terran. I think it's Ryung? It could be Stats, though.
Maybe. Who knows? It's pretty close. Well, hopefully you guys don't mind the actual colors, since the unit types are pretty different. But Frost horizontal spawn should be not nearly as proximal.
Proximal?
How do you add an ibble to that?
I think you would not.
Proxiable.
Say it would be
Proxiable. Yeah.
not nearly as desirable to proxy is what I would personally go with.
Ubble is something that you can add on just like ish. Proxiable, as Frozen Temple was. Although I really want to drive it home, like for Ryung to do a proxy was not completely necessary. It's already a short map, and like if you, I guess the one thing you could say is that for a time, Stats was trying to deny reinforcements, and he could have then also denied the tank reinforcements and medevac reinforcements if everything was coming from one location. That's certainly one point in the favor of proxying it, but also the Widow Mine drop coming in a little bit sooner, which didn't surprise Stats, but I guess always has the potential to. Point is, not gonna be something you see here. In fact, you see a command center first from Ryung this time, so completely opposite of last game. That will be scouted by the probe eventually. Just unfortunately getting the very, very last scout. Have I been watching Game of Thrones? I don't know what I said last game, but no.
Zombie, do you watch Game of Thrones?
I mean, it's not even on right now. So no, not really. I'm waiting for the book, man. You know, all the juicy secrets. Probably need to reread the series. I forgot that I even read the series, to be honest, but I was looking through a bunch of old books, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's right, I actually have these books. I'm actually a total dweeb. Do you use the word dweeb anymore? It's a pretty old-fashioned term. Like moxie.
It's like a 90s insult too, like you think about it. That's
Yeah, it's not nearly as old as moxie. One of those should come back, one of those should not. Oh, the Dep's gonna get the secondary scout as opposed. Whether it super needs it. It's not gonna get that good of a scout anyway. Ryung's Marines are on the high ground. Yep, gonna be able to see the command center at least. Confirm that he did take one. If it was a one base build, it'd probably be hitting by now. But unfortunately, he's not going to be able to get into the main base and see the timing on the factory, because this, you know, could have been 3 barracks, could have been 2-1-1, basically. It's going to be a lot of production early on. Eventually, his observer's going to get over there and scout it, and he'll have a better understanding of what he can get away with, you know, third-wise and whatnot, but doesn't know for now. He's going into a Twilight Council, probably going to get a War Prism after this observer. Did he miss it being made? No. Okay, yeah, probably. Oh, and Blink. He has gotten a little bit more into the main base with that Adept Shade, so we saw there's 2 barracks. I mean, Blink is a good upgrade to have in general, so it's not like he's gonna dedicate to this all-in that we sometimes see in response to, like, a Widow Mine drop, but he will have to be careful if he's gonna try and control the game, basically. You know, he's out in the middle of the map, or he's actually trying to take advantage of Ryung not having, like, stim yet, which actually he would have stim. Yeah, he would have stim over Blink. The point is, there's going to be a lot of units. 3 barracks early on, going to give you a lot of production, especially after all the add-ons are added. And yeah, you don't have medevacs, you do have just a lot of units. Defensively, you're well set up for that. Offensively, you always want to wait for the medevacs, unless you're really trying to do something tricky. And now Stats knows that. Sure, his observer dies, but it sees the timing. That was still a good scout for him. And he knows he has some time before he has to worry about being pushed. Third base goes down. War Prism can continue buying time anyway, even if the medevacs were on their way out. And the Stalkers are going to try and get some map control here. They shouldn't have it for very long. Another observer, this time more safely placed, I suppose. Was that a missile turret? I guess that was a missile turret. He was a little afraid of what Stats was doing. I guess the same way that Stats didn't have good scouting, but now kinda does. Ryung has absolutely no scouting. He didn't even bother scouting with an SCV. Or maybe he did, but he didn't scout the actual base. So he didn't even know that Stats got a natural. He's just guessing that he's gonna go for a third base, which is a good guess, but you don't know if that's the back off an Oracle or Phoenix play. If it's going to be off the back of, like, maybe super fast Colossus, again, something that Stats has done, you know, gets to third base and then gets the robotics play right after that. Doesn't know. But at least now he knows there's Blink, which is usually a given. And that's about it. And then it's not Stargate, I suppose, so the missile turret feels a little bit useless. The combat shields, +1, still has to deal with this Warp Prism. Missile turrets over here would have been very useful. But he is almost all ready to go with his attack. Army's pretty big, and it's gonna be able to hit if it goes like right now, before +1 and Resonating Glaives. But he's so worried about the Warp Prism that he's trying to chase that. He's not trying to push.
I love this catch. If he actually kills the Warp Prism, that's gonna be major. And of course, as this goes back towards the natural, there are Marines over there waiting. Hell, those 2 Liberators coming out can shoot it down. This isn't like, oh my god, this is full of 2 Archons of devastatingly cost-ineffective engagements about to go down, but it is removing the Warp Prism from the equation. Not having that monkey on your shoulder while you're worried about fighting the rest of the game. This is pretty big for Ryung.
Monkey on your shoulder is a pet monkey. Monkey on your back is an annoying monkey.
I was busy thinking of cute little monkeys with accordions, with old Italian dudes trying to make $1 on the side. But looks like he will get the Warp Prism, and in fact saves his army from getting caught from behind with the Adepts. Well played out of Ryung in a couple different respects here. But once again, monkey shoulder, monkey back, parrot, doesn't matter what it is. Point is that Warp Prism's now gone. Yeah.
The Adepts not going to transfer in. But Ryung, I mean, Ryung still has an army advantage, okay? So he's still able to push forward. But at this point, I would say that he's actually playing a little too scared. I mean, defensive is another word for it, but at some point it becomes scared. Like, you should have tried to poke or prod or drop or push or something, and instead you don't do anything. So Stats is really going to reap the rewards of a third base, now fully saturated, of course. He's going to get technology, he's going to get Storm, basically. That's something that Ryung, I don't think, is really preparing for. He's getting Liberators, he's not thinking about Ghost quite yet. Now finally pushing forward. I was really worried that he was going to continue just staying still on 2 bases, and that would have been devastating if he had just given time for Stats to match his army supply. But he's still ahead 30 now, in fact, and Storm is not done. So he's going to posture, he's going to try and find the best engagement possible, and that might give time for Storm to finish. But there's not even High Templars. Gather energy? Oh, there are. There's 2 High Templars. Ryung chooses to engage right here. Wouldn't mind to go off on a couple of the Adepts. Oh, and the Militia Corps. There you go. And we'll get rid of her.
That was a nice pick.
She did have quite a bit more energy on her. I think at least 2 more for the overcharges. And that would have been helpful, for sure. Storm is almost done. 1 good Storm on the ground army, combined with the Adepts shading in, will definitely help take down the ground army. The Liberator is still something that he has to deal with. A couple of Adepts trying to catch reinforcements. It's not doing such a terrible job. But the Widowmines are now off cooldown again. The Adepts have to be very, very careful. More reinforcements from Ryung. He might have waited a long time, but he still had a nice army supply, and it looks like he's able to use it to maybe even win the game. Stats was unable to catch him before he found a good position on the ramp, and that's really biting him in the butt. Oh, Widowman actually hits the Adepts. The Stalkers did not deal with the super quickly.
The army supplies are just way too different right now at this point. Ryung's on 88, army supply to the 30 of Stats. Storms are certainly nice, but that splash damage can't make up for what is an almost 60 army supply lead.
Yeah. Ryung with, I mean, basically a 2 base all in here. Okay, well, I don't know what the rest of you are doing, but
it's like 1 base all in.
Yes, 1 base all in. Exactly. But it worked out. You know, like, I was really worried he was taking too much time, but Stats, you know, besides buying more time, like he would have wished his Warp Prism was still alive to do so, also just not catching Ryung in a bad position, not forcing him to stop and go and stop and go. Both combined here, leading to Stats defeats. Ryung takes game number 3 and takes the series.
Nice. Congratulations to Ryung. Going on now to the semifinals, and where he'll wait for the winner of Chan Kim and Leenock fighting a ZVZ. So TVZ guaranteed for Ryung on deck. Top side, you got Alive versus Innovation currently going on. That's a TVT. And then Beyond versus Hero playing out on the Korean stream for the Olimoleague. So make sure to check that out too. I'm not sure where we're going next. We haven't played ads in a while, so we'll probably go to commercial break. We might have to leave the break screen up for a little bit longer if we're delayed. But, yo, oh my god, we've been dancing around this stupid topic for so long. I have some really good news I want to announce to everybody. I have to make sure we had permission for it. So, if you've got half of a brain cell, you've probably pieced together the clues that we've been so subtly dropping over the last few weeks. But Zombrib and I recently purchased a couple of plane tickets that are going to be taking us to Korea the week after BlizzCon. We can't say too much about like where or the prize pool or anything like that, but we are going to be casting the Olimoleague year-end finals live in Korea.
Yay!
Oh, it's so glad I can finally talk about it.
Woohoo!
Anyways, while we're on break, because it is going to be a pretty big break, guys, if you got questions, write it in Twitch chat. We'll try our best to answer there, but it looks like there will be quite a bit of time until we're ready to go with the next series. So one last thing I'd like to verbally advertise, so shamelessly. I mentioned in chat, and we got about 8 subscribers off of it. Oh, excuse me, 9 now. Excellent. I started a YouTube channel for non-StarCraft stuff because people were requesting we start separating some of that from the main YouTube channel for BaseTradeTV. So if you guys would do me a favor, I would greatly appreciate a subscription. I have to get like 300 to get custom URLs, so I need to change that up pretty quick. But yeah, I'm going to be posting WoW stuff, vlog stuff, fun stuff, like whatever, anything that's not StarCraft is going on that channel now. So please, pretty please, consider subscribing.
Yay. All right, that's going to take us to our break. Hopefully we'll get into a game mid-series, so it won't be super, super long. But if we do have to wait for a new one, then it might be a longer break. See you guys then.